Hello and welcome to today's Office Hours presentation. This is your host, Paul Hoyt. Our Office Hours presentation is a relaxed informal mentoring program for tribe members that we do every Monday at noon Pacific time. All these recordings, slides, and exercises are archived in our members area. The reason we do this is because we know that being a successful small business owner can be a great experience, but we also know that it's tough. You need support in order to be successful. You need tools and team in order to be successful, and we want you to get to know us because when you do, you'll know first and most importantly that we care about you. We really do. We want you to be successful in every area of your life, no matter what that means to you. We want you to find the greatness, the happiness, the divinity within yourself, and then remember it, embrace it, and live it every single day. Our passion is helping entrepreneurs and small business owners get clear and stay focused so they can grow faster. Growing faster means a lot to businesses. It means capturing market share. It means increased revenues and profits. It means all kinds of excitement. It's almost all business owners want to grow faster. Some of them, by the way, if they're doing really, really well and they've created a lifestyle business, they just want kind of steady growth that will keep pace with inflation and keep business new and active. Nobody really likes to see their business decline much. But most people, and I mean most, I mean 95 to 98% of every small business owner, every entrepreneur I've ever worked with, definitely wants their business to grow faster. Today is live group coaching. We're going to take questions from anybody who's on the phone or anybody who's joining us online and help you out as we can. And I've also assembled some questions and discussion topics from conversations that I've had with clients in the last week, and so I'll be sharing those with you as well. As always, we try to focus the subject matter of the day on one or more of the key performance areas of success that I defined in my book in 2004 called The Foundation Factor, and today it's all about all of them. So you're welcome to ask a question or suggest a discussion in any one of the 7 key performance areas. With the Awaken CEO system, we also talk about the need to be focused on 3 different areas of growth: business growth, professional growth, and personal growth, and on 3 different levels of growth: your mindset, your methods, and your momentum. And you're welcome to ask a question or suggest a discussion topic about any one of these areas, about the mindset of personal growth, the methods of business growth, or establishing momentum in your professional growth, whichever ones that you want to. Today's agenda is pretty simple. We're going to have a quick reminder of the last several office hours presentations, and then we're going to go right into open Q&A and coaching. And then I've got some special announcements at the end of the broadcast that I'm very, very excited about. So you want to make sure that you stay tuned and keep listening for those special announcements coming up. First, let's talk about previous office hours. Office hours number 150 was on the Cheerfully Imperfect Leader, where we talked about embracing a mindset of being able to see your own strengths and seeing yourself as both a masterpiece and a work in process, in having a little bit of humility and vulnerability in your job because of a couple of things. Number one, it really builds stronger relationships, but it also encourages other people to be vulnerable and to be humble and to be able to learn and grow. Whatever energy that you bring into the business as a leader is the energy that other people will absorb. And energy, as we know, whether it be positive, joyful energy or toxic, negative energy, it is contagious. So you get to decide what kind of environment that you want to work in and bring that to the office every single day. In Office Hours 151, we talked about money. We talked about financial management. We talked about all kinds of things, financial statements, managing credit, all kinds of things about how you can accelerate the cash flow into your business and then manage the money appropriately. In 152, we talked about accountability and other leadership virtues. Again, it was kind of a challenge and a call to action for anybody who has a company to really embrace the virtues that they would like to see with their company, so that other people are encouraged to have those same qualities. And that's what we talked about in 152. On 153 was micro business challenges, And 155 rather, was on business cycles. 154, by the way, was live group coaching. In 153, we talked about the special challenges that micro businesses face that rarely other businesses face at all, because they're large enough to have a separation of duties between the people who are at the business and an expertise that each individual can have. But if you're in a 1, 2, 3, 5-person company, if you have a micro business, such is not the case. If you have a micro business, then you really need to be competent at all of the areas. You don't have a chance to specialize, and you need to do context shifts throughout the day. Sometimes you're operating in sales, sometimes you're operating in marketing, sometimes you're operating in financial management, and you're always operating as a leader. And in 155, we talked about business cycles, like annual cycles, quarterly cycles, monthly cycles, etc., and encourage you to develop checklists so that you wouldn't forget those things that need to be done periodically. It's kind of easy to remember the things that you have to do every single day, but remembering that, taxes are due on the 15th of June or on the 15th of September can be a little tough unless you've got a system that helps you remember that. So those are the previous office hours. I hope that gives some of you some ideas for some of the questions or discussion topics that you might want to see today. Now let's jump in and do open Q&A and coaching. If you are online, by all means, type into the chat log, put into the question mark box something that you would like for us to talk about. Otherwise, I've got several questions and several things that came in via email and were situations that I worked with clients for this last week. Here's the first one. Client writes, I have a licensee who is way behind on their guaranteed payments to me and reporting on the royalties that they owe me, but he's pretty famous and I think he's kind of wealthy, but he's not paying me. So what can I do? And that is a tough question. Anytime somebody declines to pay you, it usually is a matter of one or two things: personal integrity or just circumstance. And usually kind of a combination of those two things. There are people out there that will find a way to pay their vendors, find a way to pay their employees, find a way to be right with everybody no matter what. They'll undertake a tremendous amount of personal sacrifice in order to honor the relationships they have with other people. I'm one of those people. I hope that you're one of those people too. But there are other people on the other end of that are out to swindle everybody. They'll sign an agreement, they'll take all of your time and take all of your products with no intention whatsoever of paying you. That subconsciously, that's what drives them. That's what they thrive on, is being clever enough to swindle people out of their time and money and products. I rarely ever see people like that, but what I do see is people that are somewhere in between. That when the going really gets tough, when their cash flow suffers, they don't mind making you suffer too. And in fact, they will take care of their own personal financial needs before they will pay their vendors, before they will even pay their employees sometimes, because they figure, well, everybody's got to take care of themselves first, and I got to do what I got to do. I got to take care of myself before I take care of other people, and they don't realize the harm that they cause other people. So for those of us who are of high integrity and would never even think about cheating somebody else out of what we'd agreed to pay them, for those of us, it's hard to understand the mindset of somebody who would cheat somebody else. And that's what I'm going to call it, what it is. It's cheating somebody else. It's robbing from somebody else. Whenever you consume somebody else's time and products without getting square on the value, without getting back into the balance of it. But some people have such a strong victim energy, such a strong woe is me energy, that they blame everything on everybody else, that they fail to take personal responsibility, that they think that they just have to take care of themselves, but everybody else has got to take care of themselves, that they fall into that trap. I hate it when I meet those people. and I'm sorry that you have met one of these people when it comes to paying your royalties. So what do you do about that when somebody has broken their agreement with you? Royalties are not the same as, give me your product back, because they're using your intellectual property probably to generate money for themselves. They're just not giving you your fair share of it, and according to your contract. The right thing to do in that particular case is send them a couple of harsh letters, get them on the phone, remind them of their opportunity, or rather remind them of the opportunity they have to come back into integrity with you and with themselves by getting right on those payments. If that doesn't work, then you have to go to an attorney. You have to give them a cease and desist. You have to hire an intellectual property attorney or just a corporate counsel and immediately demand that they cease using your intellectual property. If you have to, you can take them to court and get an injunction against them, and you can sue them for damages. Now, they're likely to whine and complain and give you all kinds of different excuses about why they can't write you that check today, but that's their problem. That's not your problem. In this particular case, you need to take care of yourself and preserve your rights to your own intellectual property. Because if it's your intellectual property, it's a bigger deal than just if you sold somebody a program that they didn't pay you for. And here's the reason it's a bigger deal. It's a bigger deal is because in order to protect your intellectual property, you have to display a long-term pattern of doing things designed to protect your intellectual property. If you just let it go without agreement, or if you don't enforce the agreements that you have with other people, a court later on down the road can point to a pattern that you had in not really wanting to protect your intellectual property. So you really have to do that. You have to protect yourself today and have to protect yourself in the future by doing things that you need to do, by taking steps and taking action and getting into momentum, I would like to say, when it comes to protecting your own intellectual property. So do it now. If you've already taken those first steps, if you've already knocked on their door, if you've already given them a call, if you've already sent them an email, and you're not getting any response, or you're not getting a favorable resolution, all you're getting is somebody who's just ignoring you or giving you excuses, then spend the money, unfortunately, spend the few $100 to go to the attorney and get the cease and desist letter sent to them so that they understand that this is a very serious thing. There are a lot of people out there that will just oil the squeaking wheel, and if you're not squeaking, you're not going to get any attention from them whatsoever. So unfortunately, it may be against your nature, or then I invite you to be courageous and squeak a little bit, and hopefully that was helpful to you. Here's another question that came in. What should I look for in a partner is the question. That's a really good one because, I strongly recommend that you don't be a solo entrepreneur. After being a solopreneur and then having partners and having associates and affiliates, I vastly prefer working with other people and having them a part of my team rather than just going at it alone all the time. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Not the least of which is that I perform better. I thrive more. I'm a happier person when I am singing a duet or singing in a trio than I am if I'm singing a solo, and you may be the same. There's this magic that happens, this synergy that happens whenever you've got multiple people on your team all pulling in the same direction. So having a partner is a really, really good thing. When you ask what do you look for in a partner, there are several things to look for. I did an office hours some time ago on a book called Nail It, Then Scale It, which was one of my very favorite books. In Nail It, Then Scale It, the author of the book says that you need to have at least 3 strong competencies in every business. You need to have the hacker, the huckster, and the hopeful. The hacker being the engineer, somebody that can actually roll up their sleeves and get the job done. The huckster being the salesperson who can convince others to buy your products and services. And the hopeful is the visionary, the person who holds the flame, who has the idea, who steers the boat, who leads the company in the direction of that magnificent vision that they have. They're the inspiration for the entire company. It is rare, in his opinion, and I believe it's true, that you would find all three of those competencies in a single person. A single person is not likely to be able to be the engineer to design and develop the products and services and deliver the products and services, and the salesperson to be able to successfully sell the services, and the visionary. It does happen every once in a while, but it's not very common, and it's also probably not a good idea because you really need that specialization. You need somebody who's a genius in each one of those three areas. So when you start to think about a partnership, think about somebody that's complementary to you, and they have skills that you do not have, and they are a genius. They've got superpowers in areas of business that you are not blessed in. And look for them to be that partner. So if you are a really great engineer or delivery partner and you're holding the flame, then go find yourself a salesperson. If you are a great salesperson or a great visionary, you may need somebody on your team who can actually get the job done, who can do the planning work. You may need a COO and a CFO if you can be a great visionary, etc. So find that complementary energy and bring that onto the team. So that's one thing, number one, to look for in a partner. Another thing I would say is a common vision. The analogy I like to use is, imagine that you got two rocket ships on the launch pad right next to each other at the same time. If they're on the same course and they take off, you can have a really tremendous venture going. But if they're slightly headed in different directions, as they get up a few hundred yards or a couple of miles, they're going to pull apart and drift in those different directions. Even having a 1 degree or a 2 degree difference in what you want to accomplish in the next 6 months, 12 months, 5 years can make a huge difference as time goes on. So make sure that you share a common vision and that you have the ability to collaborate on that vision and agree upon that vision, which brings me to principle number 3 when it comes to getting a great partner in your business. Principle number 3 is select a partner who will play a game with you to decide which ones of you can contribute the most to the partnership. And you don't be the one who will let the partner down. And pick a partner who doesn't want to be the one to let you down. You want to be collaborative, but you also want to be committed to the relationship and committed to the partnership. And a great principle in business to me is leave a little money on the table. Make sure that you know in your heart and mind that you have brought more than your fair share to the business relationship, that you went that extra mile, that you contributed that extra hour or that extra dollar to the partnership to make it work. Because when they see you doing that, a good partner will respond in kind. A bad partner, by the way, will go, wow, well, hey, I'm happy just to sit back and let them do all the work. That partnership will never last. If it doesn't have a prayer, no chance at all of lasting more than just a little while, because pretty soon the partner who's giving the most is going to become resentful. They're going to figure it out that, hey, I'm putting forth 70 or 80% of the effort here, and I'm only getting half of the rewards, etc. They'll realize they're out of balance, and it's probably not going to be correctable. So those are the 3 great things that I would suggest that you focus on when it comes to finding a partner in your business. Number 1 is the complementary skill sets. You don't want to hire somebody who does exactly what you do or is gifted in the same way, because you're still not going to have a balanced approach to the business. The biggest mistake, by the way, on that I've ever seen is you get 2 or 3 or 4 coaches or 2 or 3 or 4 wellness experts who decide that they're just going to come together and create a bigger entity, and they believe that that's going to solve their problems because they have increased capacity to deliver. They think that that's going to solve their sales and marketing problems, and it never does. Sales and marketing problems will remain no matter what your capacity to deliver is. If you have a great capacity to deliver, you need to bring somebody onto the team who has sales and marketing expertise so that you can have the ability to sell, to deliver, to design and deliver the products and services that you have. So number 1 is the complementary skill set. Number 2 is a common vision. And number 3 is an eagerness to be the best partner and a commitment to the relationship. Hopefully that was helpful to you. I'm going to take a sip and we'll do the next question. This next question is very closely related. So speaking of partnerships, somebody writes that I've been working with several colleagues for almost a year to develop a group, to develop an association that helped each other's businesses. But it really hasn't paid off yet at all, and I'm concerned that it might not be going anywhere. You know, what should I do? Well, I've been a member of several of those initiatives. And here's the problem when a bunch of people come together and say, hey, let's just all kind of get together and we'll form a little group here, a trade association, and we'll all be better off. You know, it's the same problem I talked about earlier when it comes to a partnership. Increasing your capacity to deliver does not mean that you're going to increase your financial performance. You have to have somebody who drives the agenda and who leads the company and who demands that products be created and demands that products and services be sold and demand that products and services be delivered and takes on that responsibility. At a small business, when it's usually the business owner who does that, and they're extremely motivated to do it because it's their time and money that's on the line. So they're demanding of themselves and of others that we develop products and services, we sell those products and services, we deliver those products and services, we take care of the customer, we manage our finances, we take care of the operations of the business, etc. So they demand competence or excellence in each one of the 7 key performance areas. If you're just coming together with a bunch of group associates and friends in a group, it's not likely that any one person will take on that leadership role and be the driver personality in encouraging, inspiring, and demanding that other people on the team do their part to help the association be successful. So you can linger for years and years and years, but if nobody is going to stand up and say, hey, we either need to do this or I'm gone, you know, it's not likely to really go anywhere. Again, the most common one that I have seen is, you know, 6 or 7 coaches get together and say, we're going to form an association of coaches, and by forming an association of coaches, I know that our business will be better because we'll be able to address the marketplace from a position of strength. And yes, you do appear to be stronger in that one way in your capacity to deliver, but that doesn't mean that you've got any additional strength in sales or marketing or financial management or leadership or product development or the other critical areas of business. Hopefully that was helpful to you. But if you ever want to join a group of people, find somebody who's going to drive that group to be successful. And by the way, you can do that by getting somebody in the group to agree to be the manager and compensate them for that. Compensate them in terms of additional equity if it's an actual business where you're sharing the ownership of the business, or compensate them in terms of some sort of override on all of the royalties which come through to the business, so that they are incentivized to spend their time and money, to put their willpower into seeing that business organization succeed. Hopefully that was successful. Hopefully it was helpful to you. Here's another quick question. I'm getting ready to raise some capital for my business. What do I need to do in order to get my financials into shape? Well, I'm glad that you're asking, because when you raise capital for a business, you have an obligation to do a couple of things: to fairly disclose the status of the business and to fairly and honestly disclose the plans of the business. That's part of the disclosure requirement whenever you're raising capital. If you fail to accurately and fairly disclose the current status of the business, or if you fail to disclose the plans of the business in a way that's material to the business in any way, then the investors in that business can file a complaint against the Securities and Exchange Commission. They can come back and offer an order of rescission, which means you have to give all of your investors their money back, and at least you're going to have really bad relationships. So I'm a big fan of keeping your financials up to date when you're raising capital because you have a need to fairly disclose that. Of course, anybody who knows me knows that I'm a big fan of keeping your financials up to date all the time because of the way that they can support you in growing the business. You know, if you don't know how much money you're making and you don't know where the sources of revenue are and you don't know how much it costs to deliver your products and services and you don't know how much you're spending on your teammates or on your rent or on other issues of overhead, you don't have much of a chance of having a truly profitable business because a lot of things will slip through the cracks. You'll be buying things that you no longer use on a month by month by month basis. You'll also subconsciously, you're encouraging people out there to cheat from you and embezzle from you because you don't have the financial controls in place. But when you are raising capital, it is essential that you fairly disclose the financial status of the business. And that means, you know, what your revenues were, what your profits were, how much you owe other people, your liabilities, short-term and long-term, how much people owe you, your accounts receivable and your notes receivable, you know, the issues and the challenges that the business has, etc. And you also have to do that with financial projections. So you got to get your finances in shape. If you want to get your finances in shape, you know, give us a call, send me an email. We do have the resources to help you do that. I've got a great team member who works with me who that's what she does, and she does it exceptionally well. So we can help you to do that, and it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to do that. And you'll feel more confident about raising capital, and your investors will feel more confident about writing you checks if you have your financials in shape and you are running your business by the numbers in order to do that. So give us a call. We'll help you figure it out. Typically, the first thing you do is give us access to your QuickBooks or some other financial system file so we can determine what the status of it is, and then we get access to your checking accounts and your bank statements and your credit card statements, and that's read-only access, by the way. We don't want to write any checks. We don't want to obligate the company in any way. We just need to collect the information so that we can accurately organize it, assemble it, and report it so that you can do the same thing for your clients or for your investors. I'm going to take a quick time out here. We're going to have a little special word, and then we're going to offer some big announcements, etc. Our next office hours is going to be on March the 20th. That's 1 week from today. The topic is to be determined. If you have anything that you'd like for me to share, you can go to paulsurvey.com and sign in and sign up, and we'll go for it. And here's some big announcements. And I'm very, very excited about this. This has been in the works now for about 90 days or so, that you and I know that every business needs to revamp their business model from time to time, and that's the same with me too. So I'm announcing today the end of office hours. Goodbye office hours and hello group coaching. So we're offering, starting on April 1st, a group coaching programs to replace the office hours series. We may have our group coaching calls on Monday at noon, but they will only be for people who've signed up for the group coaching program. You need to have a paid membership in order to access the library and to attend the group coaching calls, and our target price is $97 a month. There are many clients out there who have got tribal access to the libraries as a bonus to some program that I offered to them in the past, and that will continue. So if you have tribe access today as part of a bonus for, you know, or something that you've already paid for, that will continue. But you will need to sign up for $97 a month in order to participate in the group coaching calls. We're not certain of what the format is, because sometimes group coaching calls, if you've got, you know, a couple of dozen people, you don't have an opportunity to call on everybody. But if you've only got like 4 to 6 people on a group coaching call, it really can be turned into a masterminding and an iterative discussion. Each person on the call may have an opportunity to share what's up for them, you know, their celebrations and their challenges, and solicit guidance and feedback, not just from me, but from everybody on the call too. So the first ones in get to help to design that. So watch out for your emails. It's going to start around April 1st or so. We're going to go to live group coaching. And after 156 or 157 office hours, we're going to put this concept to bed. But wait, there's more. Still, we're also going to have daily emails. We're going to begin a series of daily insightful and inspirational emails that's starting soon. I've been practicing on those. We've got several of them in the can. I'm eager to do that. And we're also going to be doing focused webinars. So I'm still going to be doing webinars for those of you who want to attend, but we're going to do periodic webinars, not every Monday, designed to provide immediate and substantial value to those people who are listening and to introduce coaching and consulting programs to bring even more value to their business. So that's the big announcement. Stay tuned to your emails. Bye-bye office hours. Hello daily emails. Hello focused webinars. We're taking this business to the next level starting in the second quarter of 2017 on or about April 1st or so. With that, let's bring it back to open Q&A and questions, and I got a couple more here for you. Here's a person who asks, should I record my pitch or should I just deliver it live each time? I've had several clients record their pitches before, and I do think that that can be a very good, useful exercise. And occasionally it can be a good idea to share somebody a recorded pitch. So it's a useful exercise because it's good practice for you. You get to listen back to the recording and see areas in that recording that might need a little bit of support. It helps you memorize the recording so that you're delivering those key impactful messages, every time that you deliver it. So from that sense, from the sense of recording it for feedback from your advisors and counselors and for memorizing it and rehearsing it and polishing it, I think that can be a very, very good idea. And it's nice to have a recording of the pitch, in your back pocket should you just not be able to schedule a live presentation with a prospect. So you're getting the gist of what I'm going to say next, which is I think it's a really good idea to deliver your pitches in person or at least live. You can do them over the internet because you can establish a good relationship with people over the internet because you can share video cameras, you can do Skype calls, Zoom calls, whatever you want to do to have an interactive video teleconference. But I think you should deliver it live. And the reason why is because they're going to get your passion a lot more if you deliver it live. I don't know about you, but I work much better with a live audience than I do when I'm just doing a recording. Of course, I've been doing recordings for a long, long time, so the difference is subtle. You might not be able to notice it, but I notice it. Whenever I know that there's somebody out there looking into my eyes as I'm looking into the camera, I pick it up a little bit, just like I'm doing on today's call, because I know that I've got a group audience. So it will inspire you to be more passionate and more purposeful, and to deliver a more impactful presentation if you're doing it live. It also allows them to ask questions in the middle of the presentation. So if you've got a 5-minute pitch and you say something in the first minute that they've got a question with, they've either got to write it down if it's just a recording or somehow remember it if it's just a recording and get back to you on that. But if you're live, they can raise your hand and say, hey, Paul, what do you mean by that? Can you expand on that for just a little bit? And you can, and I hope that you're flexible enough to do that, to break in the presentation and then deliver, the answer to their question and get into that interaction. Because it's the trust and rapport that you build with your prospects that inspire them more than anything to do business with you. That is the fundamental lesson of sales. Is the first thing that you want to do is establish trust and rapport. And you can do that far more effectively in an interactive, dialogue, collaborative kind of environment than if you're just delivering them a recording. So the big reason is establish trust and rapport, make sure that they give it an opportunity to be an interactive discussion as opposed to just a canned presentation. And my belief is that you're going to get better results. If, and I'll put this as an if you are polished. So record your presentation, use that as a learning tool so that you can become more polished, you can hear what you sound like, and then take that polished presentation capability into conversations with your investor prospects. and I think you'll have much better results. Hopefully that was helpful to you. And here's, I think, our last question for the day, at least the last one that I've got that's come in so far. And that is, I have the opportunity to partner with someone, but I'm concerned about his health. How do I deal with the risk? That's an interesting one, because I've had clients, it wasn't just the health that I was concerned with, it was the focus that I was concerned with too. Because there are, some people are blessed with perfect health and perfect focus, but not every partner is perfectly healthy, nor are they perfectly focused. So I'll broaden that question a little bit to deal with both health and focus. There are people out there who are in poor health, and you can tell that they're in poor health, and you can tell that they're struggling to work 4 to 6 to 8 hours a day on the business. But the bottom line is a business is a healthy man's game, or a healthy woman's game. You need to be healthy in order to survive the rigors of starting a business, because you will be expected to, upon occasion, work 12 or 14 hours a day. You will be, upon occasion, have to work even more than that. You might have to pull an all-nighter. You might have to get up real early to drive across town to an appointment or to catch a plane. It takes good physical health in general in order for you to survive the rigors of the business and for you to take advantage of the opportunities of the business. If it's 6 o'clock at night and you're just exhausted and that phone call comes in, you might have the tendency not to answer the phone or go that extra mile in order to do what really needs to be done in order to move the business forward. And you don't want a partner who's facing that kind of dilemma about making those choices of whether they take care of themselves or to take care of the business. You want somebody who doesn't have to take care of themselves very much because they have taken care of themselves a lot, and because they're in great shape and they've got great positive energy and they're able to work 12 or 14 hours a day ideally. So the bottom line with regards to health is none of us know, how many days that we have left. I've seen people who seem to be perfectly healthy just not wake up one morning. I've seen people who I thought were on their last legs. They're smoking like a chimney, they're drinking like a fish, they're cantankerous old farts, and they're like 85 years old and still being cantankerous and going for it. So there's no telling how much longer that you have to go, but if somebody doesn't have the energy that you think that they need to contribute their fair share to the partnership, then you may have to rethink the partnership, because soon, pretty soon, the odds are likely that if you're putting in 70% of the effort and they're going home at 3 o'clock every day, then you're going to be resentful and you're going to realize that it's not in balance and the partnership's not going to last. So there's a couple of ways to deal with the risk. Number one, I think the biggest thing is that you want to be open and honest and deal with the risk. You want to be able to have that tough conversation with them. If you can't have the tough conversation with them, then I would suggest that maybe you're not the best partner that you need to be, and they're not the best partner that they need to be, because in a partnership, you need to be able to talk about everything. You need to be able to talk about what's not going well, what is going well, what your feelings are, what their feelings are, what's pissing you off, what's pissing them off, what's exciting you, what's exciting them. You need to be able to talk about all of those things and give space to the other person so that they can have a valid and authentic emotional response and emotional engagement with you. So you got to talk about that risk. That's number one. Number two is you can do things, by the way, if they're not in terribly, terribly bad health, you can do key man life insurance policy. But that's not possible in some cases if their health is really, really too bad. But if it's just, if you're just kind of concerned because they're 82 years old, but apparently in good health, but before you invest all your time and money in the business, you want to have a little risk mitigation there, then it could be that a life insurance policy or some other kind of insurance policy might be in place. You can also have agreements that say, if my partner is no longer able to contribute what we both agree is their fair share, then maybe some additional equity comes your way or additional compensation comes your way, that you've somehow accounted for the possibility of being out of balance when it comes to a contribution in the partnership agreements that you had in the first place. And those are things that you can do to mitigate the risk. I've got 12:44, but I'm not seeing other questions coming in for today. So I'm going to call our office hours good for the day. I'm going to invite all of you to come back next week and invite for all of you who are listening to this recording to think about the end of office hours and the beginning of live group coaching, because I really want to continue to help you in your business, but I need to switch my business model, as I certainly recommend that you all switch your business model from time to time. And after 156 office hours, I think that's probably enough. This is Paul Hoyt signing off, and until we meet again, I'm wishing all of you a most marvelous and prosperous day. Bye-bye.